everyone. Welcome to my video. So today we are talking to all the pre-tenure people in our audience, and we are talking about how playing small pre-tenure can backfire. Okay, now you might have heard. So first of all, I'm Kathy Mazak. Hi, I'm a writing coach, and we have a pre-tenure prep program called Amplify Faculty Writing Accelerator, and so I am speaking to a place of, from a person who has done a lot of work with pre-tenure people. And one of the things I hear a lot is this idea of like, I need to be quiet. I can't really say too many things. I can't really rock the boat pre-tenure. And then after tenure, I can say whatever I want and do whatever I want. So I also work with quite a few post-tenure people, and they will tell you that that thing about being able to say whatever the heck you want post-tenure isn't exactly true either. So I want to kind of break through this idea of like pre-tenure, you need to kind of like, walk on eggshells a little bit as you are, figuring out who you are, which is what we talked about yesterday, and becoming a member of your department, right? I actually think that people go overboard with the walking on eggshells thing. And again, I've talked a lot in different places about this idea of like the fear that we have, that like the culture of academia instills a lot of fear in us. It's a very like scarcity based culture, like enough pubs, enough time, enough energy. We never have enough. And what I want to do is talk about the ways that while that absolutely is true, right? Like also at the same time, we can do things so that it doesn't always feel like things aren't enough. So, but also related to that fear is like there's a lot of fear, and rightfully so, around not getting tenure because the stakes are so high. If you don't get tenure, it's going to feel incredibly defeating. It means you probably have to leave your position, which means uproot your family or uproot yourself. It's like really a devastating thought, right? So the idea that we could maybe, that one of the things we might do to make sure we get tenure is to kind of lay low and be under the radar is a logical idea. However, what that does is a few things. So I call that playing small. That comes from Tara Moore's book called Playing Big. And in that book, Tara Moore says, that there's a lot of good reasons that people socialized as women have played small because, if you were too obvious, you could be accused of witchcraft or, and burned at the stake. You could, all kinds of horrible things could happen to you if you were like too out there, right? And we still have a lot of that. Thankfully not burning at the stake necessarily, but like we still have a lot of that, like repercussions for people socialized as women or who identify as women who are like out there being too big, right? So that said, when you play small, it has a lot of negative effects on your ability to get tenure. Because here's the thing about tenure, and we talked about this yesterday on the live video from yesterday, which you can scroll back and see. People need to know who you are if they're going to grant you tenure. So if people don't know who you are or what you do, that's like one of the things that a lot of people get in their third-year reviews is like, we don't really get what you're doing, And I think as like younger generations of scholars work with more interdisciplinarity, sometimes we find ourselves, and institutions are very slow to respond to interdisciplinarity. So you have yourself and your work, and you're working at the intersections of different fields, but you end up hired into a department that is one field, right? That is like, you end up in the sociology department, even though you are doing sociology and women's studies and immigration. So it's like economics plus sociology plus, like it's like all these things. So what happens is these older people, like, the people who are post tenure, could be only 6 years ahead of you in terms of their career, but they could be 20 or 30 years ahead of you in terms of their careers. And they might have kind of been raised in an academic climate where people were very more strictly disciplined focused, like they fit neatly into one discipline. And so if you come in with your kind of modern interdisciplinarity, you could look like, what the heck is this person doing? Like, I don't understand what she does. So if you play small, then one of the ways that can backfire is that if people aren't clear about what your research area is, that you really don't want to go up for tenure with anybody confused about what you do and how your course teachings fit with what you do, fit with your publications, fit with your service. So this idea that we also talked about in previous lives about how everything needs to be about your mission statement and your milestone map. The other reason that's like a really important thing to do for pre-tenure work is that you are getting very clear about who you are. Your messaging becomes very clear. And so when you go to submit your dossier, it's very clear what you do. And so a lot of times playing small are the impact that we're trying to have gets diluted on purpose because we're trying to fly under the radar a little bit and not rock the boat. And that can really backfire in terms of how the tenure and promotion committee looks at you. Okay. And then what you end up doing is you have the dossier itself has to really tell your story, which it should anyway, but you rely more on the dossier than on the everyday interactions that people have had with you. So you want to be vocal about what you do. You want to show up and I really think it's, it's a lot like marketing. You don't just want to attract people to what you do. You want to repel the people who are like, you want to know who is like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's what she studies, or like, that's not real scholarship or whatever, because those are the people you're going to have to convince potentially in your dossier with the narrative that you tell about yourself when you are doing your paperwork, right? You're submitting your tenure packet. So playing small, not only does it, we think it makes us look neutral, but nothing's ever neutral. It makes you look less confident. It makes you look more deluded. Makes people be like, what is she really about? So I want you to think about if you feel like you might be a person who plays small, I want you to go grab Tara Moore's book called Playing Big. I think she has I've never seen her on video, but I think she has some videos on YouTube as well related to her book. She talks about different types of fear, like kind of good fear and bad fear. She talks about trusting your inner mentor, which is something that we talk about a lot in our programs. And so I think that it's a great book, to pick up. I feel like I keep talking about the same 5 books. I got to read more books to recommend to you all. But basically that is the little bit of advice that I want to tell you today. The reason that you shouldn't play small is because people won't know who you are. You want to know those people who you're repelling. You want to attract people to what you do and also repel people. And you want to know who those people you're repelling are, because you're going to need to do something different, perhaps to win them over in your tenure work in terms of, telling the story of what you do. And it's really about growing into confidence and growing into who you are as a scholar. Now, if you want support around that, our Amplify program is open for enrollment right now. Amplify is a pre-tenure program. It's specifically for people who are on the tenure track pre-tenure. Okay, so that window of time. Although many people come to us in the 3rd year, we would love to have you at any year. We have people who have joined in their last year going up, the year before they go up. We've had people join in their very first year, and I'm really happy to get those people because I feel like we can really point them in the right direction from early on in the program. It's a program that is a year long. And the reason it's a year long is because the changes we're trying to make in the way you center your writing in your career, in the way you approach your career strategically, and the way that you grow confidence in yourself through peer mentoring and coaching and being in a community of like-minded scholars. Those things take time to develop and to kind of solidify. And that's why it's a year-long program. It's not a course, it's a year-long program. And the meat of the program, although it includes many things, the things I want to mention to you are the mastermind calls, which happen in a cohort of 8 to 10 women. And they happen they happen twice a month. So like the first Monday and the third Monday of every month. And in those calls, we do this very unique to academia way of doing group coaching. So it's not group coaching like we do in Navigate, where everybody just gets on and we ask questions and it's kind of like spot coaching. The mastermind calls are deeply developing peer mentoring networks. And the way they do that is that we use a hot seat method, where in each hour-long call, 2 people are on the hot seat. And so you each get half an hour to kind of tap the collective wisdom of the group about whatever you need. So we have people ask questions, strategic pipeline questions, how to quit things questions, what to do with toxic colleagues questions, should I leave my job and get a different one questions, how do I negotiate for a better salary at the new job where I have an offer, all kinds of different things. Not that everybody's switching jobs, but we, just to mention like a diversity of topics that we talk about. And speaking of diversity, what is wonderful about those groups is that they are full of people from diverse fields of study, in different years on the tenure track, and in different kinds of universities. And so that diversity of perspectives is the richness of the coaching and those peer bonds that you form. So that's the main like meat of the program. There's lots of other things. You get 4 one-on-one calls. We have twice annual retreats. We're holding them online. They're still awesome. So writing retreats in June and January. We're doing a mini treat in August because our June retreat was so popular that people asked for a mini treat. And we were like, yes, we'll do a 1-day mini treat. That sounds fabulous. So if you join before, I think it's August 23rd, you can come to our mini treat. And I can tell you more information about that in tomorrow's live. But basically, you have an invitation to apply. And let me tell you what the application process is like. You fill out a very short type form that is in the description of this video. And when you do that, basically what we're doing is we're collecting up applications this week, and we will be responding to you to let you know if the program is right for you or not within the next week. And we are going to be having a special invite-only pipeline training. I'm calling it the Power Pipeline Training. We did it in a kind of short last-minute version with 4 potential Amplify members a week and a half ago, and it was really great. Like it's not my usual webinar where there's 100 people. It's going to be a select group of people. So it's going to be like 10, 15 people. Basically anyone who we've seen their application, we go like, yes, this person is a good candidate for Amplify. We invite you to that training. It's free. And you get to experience a little bit of what the program is like. So if you would like a chance to get invited to our application only Power Pipeline training, apply at the link in the description. And I will see you tomorrow at 2:30, when I will be talking about, let me see my notes, how many publications is enough? How many is enough? Right? Nobody tells you. I'm going to tell you tomorrow at 2:30. See you then. Bye.